Hi, Joe Trepicone here with Trepicone and Associated Architects in Dublin, Ohio. I'm here today to talk a little bit about timber construction, specifically heavy timber construction, and a little bit about mass timber construction. I love working with timber construction. I believe it is one of the most underutilized and misunderstood types of construction in the industry. Heavy timber refers to structures that are constructed from large wood beams and columns. Mass timber construction refers to nail and glue laminated timber. The first heavy timber construction was documented back in the 10th century. After all this time, it's finally becoming more popular again, and we'll discuss some of the reasons why that is. The Journal of Sustainable Forestry calculated that the Earth could experience a 30% reduction in CO2 emissions by substituting wood for steel and concrete in construction. But there are many other benefits to heavy timber. It's slow burning, self-extinguishing, it can achieve its own fire rating, it's warm, it's naturally beautiful, but most of all, it's sustainable. I believe effective, sustainable forest management is a key in reversing climate change. Wood is our only renewable, sustainable building resource. This video is intended to share one example with you.
Just like any structure, we begin with a good foundation. Here we see pads and rebar. Next, the forms for the concrete piers are built in place. Then the concrete truck is brought in. The forms are filled. Workers are careful to avoid air pockets or voids in the concrete. We specify Simpson strong tie column bases, which are embedded in the concrete pier. When the forms are removed, we have tapered piers ready for columns and later stone and brick veneer. When the timber is delivered to the site, things start getting exciting for me. I like to use one of 4 different wood types in heavy timber construction. Pine is the least expensive. Oak is about 30% more than pine. Douglas fir, which is what you see here, is about 30% more than oak. And cedar is about 25 to 30% more than Douglas fir. Straps and a telehandler are used to move the timber around the site. The remainder of the attachment holes are drilled into the column bases. Once in place, the columns are through-bolted into the column anchors. The nuts are applied and torqued later. It's important not to forget to provide underground electrical conduit to power your structure. Here you see the electricians completing their wiring. The columns are drilled to allow the wire to be concealed. You don't want any surface-mounted conduit to spoil the beautiful organic character of the structure. Once the columns are on their bases, the collar ties are installed to begin to lock the rigid frame. Then main beams, king post, ridge beam, webs, braces, brackets, rafters, decking, sheathing, and lastly, of course, the standing seam metal roof. Each in its own time, assembled the way it's been done for over 1,000 years, but now utilizing modern equipment and tools. As the structure takes shape, each member is checked for plumb, level, and square, and is adequately braced to ensure it stays that way. Now that the main beams, the collar beams, the ridge beam, and the king post are installed, work can begin on the rafters. Unfortunately, I wasn't present when the tongue and groove decking was installed, but here you can see the sheathing being installed over top of the decking. This particular structure, a porte cochere for the Inn at Library Way, an assisted living center in Hilliard, Ohio, is obviously a traditionally designed heavy timber structure, intended to be in character with the rest of the building. But heavy timber is also appropriate for more contemporary structures. I hope this video might help you rethink heavy or mass timber for use in modern day construction. What you see here is a result of a day and a half of work by a highly skilled 4-person crew, excluding concrete and electrical. There's still some finish work to be done, cutting the dowel pins, final staining, lighting, and the metal roof, of course. But when it's all complete, it'll look something more like this. As always, if you have any questions or would like some additional information, please don't hesitate to contact us. Until next time.